I've had a lot of people recently text or email about how Dade and I got pregnant. And clearly, I think people have the main idea that there's some science behind it, and but I think more of like the technicalities and maybe the costs and who we used and that type of thing. So what Dade and I did, we used California Cryobank, which we did a lot of research on different options, and that seemed to be the most reputable, long-standing company that we felt like was a good investment for our funds, but also would be around a long while, so that if and when our child is ready to meet their other DNA half, that they would be able to easily contact the company and do that. So that was really important to us, which when you make the selections, you can choose an open donor or not, and we chose an open donor. It's all done online, which is kind of funny. It's very much like a dating service. Like, you put in, we tried to mimic Dade in terms of who we searched for. So we looked for the same ethnicity. You can search by height. You can search by education, the type of like Myers-Briggs assessment that how they've answered, and you can really put in a lot of different stuff. And so we tried to recreate Dade as much as possible, and that part was Dade's job, in it. So he really went through and picked out options, and then I'd go through and say yay or nay or whatever from his selections. From there, you can purchase different amounts of information about that person. So you can buy, you never get to see their adult picture, but you get to see things like staff impressions, people they look like. You do get to see baby pictures, hear an interview with them, see a writing sample, again, their Myers-Briggs assessment, their medical history, and their parents and their grandparents' medical history. So you really get a lot. Now each layer of that you have to purchase, and then so you can purchase as much or as little as you want. And then once you've selected your donor, then you purchase as many specimens as you'd like. And there's different options for specimens. So there's like the at-home version, and it's basically like, dude has a moment in the bathroom, that's captured, frozen, and then sent to you. And you and partner inseminate, turkey baster style. Or there's the other method, which Dade and I did, which is that the specimen is cleaned, which means that the only thing that's in there is the sperm. So all the, fluid and all that stuff is taken out. And then you go into a doctor, and they put it right into the uterus. So your chances are a little bit better. But each time, with each purchase, it was probably about $800 to $1,000 from California Cryobank to get it to the doctor's office, which had to go into another state. It's FedExed over. The doctor's office has a, deep freezer type thing and can keep it frozen. And then what we found is that the donors didn't stick around very long. So like if we tried twice and we'd go online to order more from that same donor, so that was just important to think about too, because we're not sure if we want another one. And if we do want to go through this process with another, to have another child, it would be very cool to have the same genetic makeup. To do that, you have to order quite a bit in advance, because you really don't know if that person's going to be around in a couple years, and I would guess not. If the supplies would be there, and how long it would take to get pregnant. It may take you 7 to 10 times of trying, which is kind of average. So anyway, it's just kind of an interesting process. And then you have to pay for the doctor's visits, which for us, and I think for most, if not all insurances, that's not covered. So there was an additional, when we started, the cost was about $250 per visit, and then by the time we ended, it was I think about $350 per visit, and that pays for the storage of all the sperm. And The other thing that's been interesting is people's response. You know, we've definitely, I mean, we have some really great and sensitive friends and coworkers. I have sensitive coworkers in my life. But we have found that we've had to correct some people where they'll say, like, who's the dad? We're like, Dade's the dad. Are you meaning who's the donor? And we're doing a home birth with a midwife. We're in Southern Oregon, so I don't know how this is around the country or around the world, but we were asking, we just had an appointment 2 days ago with our midwife and asked, you know, how that works to put Dade on the birth certificate, and Dade's been working really hard to become legally male in order to be on the birth certificate as dad, and the midwife said, you know, I don't need your birth certificate, I just need one proof of ID and gender, which will be, I mean, we could use Dade's, you know, Oregon driver's license. I'd be curious to get feedback from any folks who have experienced this. One is we go back and forth about what to tell the baby in terms of Dade's transitioning. You know, I know he doesn't always want to be trans. He wants to be male, and you know, that's really important to him. But I feel very, very adamant. I work with youth. I feel like I've got a great background with them, and I feel very adamant about being transparent about those things. Because I think when kids find out, you know, big things about their parents or about their years of growing up that they weren't included in, I think it's a shocker later on, and it opens up a door for just animosity or feelings of loss or abandonment maybe. And so I guess I'd be curious to hear what other trans families have done, if they're open and honest with the youth and how that went and when they started that process. And then the other thing, of course, is also telling the child that they are, you know, their genetic makeup, so that there is a donor in the picture, and that they do have a right at some point, you know, I think when they're 18, to meet that person. And again, I feel like I want to be very, very transparent about that, while still being very clear. You know, Dade is Papa, Dade is Daddy, and there's just no question about that. And anyway, I'd be very curious to hear how other people are, what they've done in their experience with that, maybe lessons they've learned or things that worked really well. All right, well, have a safe and happy 4th of July, and I'll see you later.